what's up? Good day. I am Pete and I'm here with Vince
Hello.
and Chan.
Hi.
Welcome to the first episode of the History 8 podcast. So, what have you been guys up to lately? Chan?
I've been playing skate, also basketball as well as tennis. Um,
Wow, athlete. How about you, bro?
Well, I've been taking an interest lately into watching news and current events, and just recently I finished watching this very interesting documentary about a pizza bomber event.
is that Evil Genius?
Oh yes, the one made by Netflix.
Wow. So, we three are watching the same documentary.
Wow,
Is
yeah,
that a coincidence or what kind of sorcery is that shit?
just a coincidence.
Yeah, just a coincidence.
So, in the documentary, what happened, guys? Any thoughts?
Well, I have to say that the death of Brian Wells was really unfortunate. I can say that he was like more of a victim than what is being portrayed, that like he was like part of the conspiracy.
Um, what leads you to that conclusion that he is a victim and not a co-conspirator of the incident, the heist?
Well, let's just say if he was really part of, if he was really part of the conspiracy, I don't think he would willingly put himself for death, because if he was a co-conspirator, I think if he's dead, he doesn't get any benefits really. If you think about it.
A good point. How about you, Chan?
For me, his life is not meant for that because he's just a victim and he's not a participant of that uh, tragedy. Again. But then, Brian is, for me, he is an innocent man. Then he just a manipulated by the unsuspected people around him.
So it's gonna be a 2 versus 1. You guys both agreed that he's a victim and not a co-conspirator or a participant of the heist. So,
Yeah.
a brief recap: what happened to the event that lead to that conclusions of ours. So, what are Brian Wells' background?
Well, from what I remembered, Brian Wells is working at the pizzeria,
The Mamma Mia, right?
the Mamma Mia's
Yeah.
Pizza. And on that day, on the morning before of course, he died, he was asked to deliver a pizza at the tower, or was it a satellite?
Peach Street, like, is that the street, right? Peach Street.
Yeah, Peach Street.
Yes, he was asked to deliver pizza there. But upon returning from that pizza delivery, he returned with a collar bomb attached to him, and he has a note that ordered him to rob a bank, ask for $250,000
Yeah.
with a cane gun, threatened the teller with a cane gun. And just a few minutes, the 911 was called, and he was eventually caught in the parking lot. But upon this, and the police discovered that he had a bomb, a real bomb attached to him. But
But I think they did not notice it. I mean, they didn't take it seriously because there was no taking. But
Yeah.
when it started to take, like, the police got shocked that it was
And-
a real bomb, right?
yes,
Yeah.
the Brian Wells himself keeps telling them that it's a real bomb, but it seems that his warnings were falling in deaf ears, and just a few minutes after that, the bomb exploded and he eventually died.
But what did the police found in his car, Chan?
I think state police found in his car about the mm, about the
I-
what do you call that one?
Note? I
The
think
note.
that notes.
The notes,
Yeah,
right.
the notes given to him.
And I think it's stated in the notes that he needs to follow some instruction. It's like
It's like
treasure
a
hunting.
scavenger
Yeah,
hunt.
Scavenger
scavenger hunt.
hunting,
Yes.
scavenger hunt game. Why did the suspects or the one who plotted the heist why did they make it as a scavenger hunt?
Uh, wait, let me interrupt.
Right.
But according to his landlord, Brian Wells do adore about scavenger hunt, then that is why the the
So he
the,
was he was attracted by the
yeah.
he liked the idea of scavenger hunting, despite that it was his life on the line.
So he was the perfect fit for that game
Yes.
and for that heist. But what went wrong? What what's the main factor that led to his death?
Well, for one, he wasn't able to finish the scavenger hunt because the police caught up to him. So that's a big factor.
Also, the FBI or the state police cut off his head. Is that a humane way of doing that to the corpse?
From my own opinion, it's to desecrate the dead body without asking first the permission of this family. It's very inhumane. But if you think about it
I get the picture.
in the greater picture, the cutting of the head was necessary so the device can be recovered without damaging it, and it was also to help to find out how they made the bomb and potentially find out who made it. So if you think about it, it's also for the family to find out who the culprit behind the bombing is.
Um, what's your thought, Chad?
like like one of his three sisters said that it's the state police and the ATF give more respect to the collar bomb that put it on his neck than to his
To the body?
yeah.
To his body. Okay. So I think that's it. That concludes the first chapter of our podcast.
Yes.
So let's go on to the next chapter, the frozen body. So on the second chapter of the Evil Genius, we were introduced to Marjorie Deal Armstrong. So what are her features?
So from the documentary, she's said to be a very intelligent person. She graduated with 5 degrees in college, and she was also valedictorian,
Top 12, right?
top
Yeah,
12 in her,
top
on the graduating class. But eventually, she succumbed to mental illness.
then suffer a manic depressive and also bipolar and mood swing quickly.
Yes. And also she's a manipulator. Oh god, yes, a very manipulative person. And the a second person was introduced in the chapter 2. It was Bill Rothstein, who reported that he found a frozen body in his garage. He thought that, or he thinks that it is Marjorie Dale Armstrong's doing, that he killed a person. What's his name?
James
Borden.
So what are your thoughts of him, guys?
About James Borden.
Yes.
I think James Borden is a man of dear Armstrong.
So he's in a relationship with Marjorie. Is that correct?
Yeah.
He was the current boyfriend of Marjorie. Bill Rothstein was actually an ex of Marjorie.
So
Uh, and also Bill Rothstein was actually helped Marjorie in hiding the body because Marjorie actually paid Bill a few sum of money to help her hide the body in the freezer in the first place. But of course Bill eventually reported the body.
And then he negotiated to the state police about the frozen body and
upon in the interview, I think I noticed that without out of the blue, Bill Rothstein he kept on insisting that it has no connection with the Wells case. Well, it's kind of
It's out of the
Oh.
blue.
Oh.
Yes.
But with all the suspicion, according to Bill Rothstein's best friend, Ray Bokorsky, that Rothstein was a very intelligent and a good guy. He's a very interesting guy because he thinks that he's smarter than everyone in the everyone around him. And after being cleared on the interview, he became a different person. He's reluctant on saying anything because I don't know, something strange that happened to him. And after Bill Rothstein's interview, the state, I think the state found,
found another suspected victim named Mr.
I think that's not a suspected
I know,
victim,
it's a part. It's also a part
co-conspirator.
of named Mr. Stockton.
Floyd Stockton.
Yeah.
He keeps insisting that he has no connection with the Wells case, but as we later find out in the documentary, after he was cleared, the interviewer decided to visit Rothstein in their house, and he noticed a blue van outside their house. The interviewer was curious and decided to go near the house, but when he went to Rothstein's house, Rothstein was very reluctant on the interview and decided not to talk. So there's maybe a suspicion there now, but who knows?
Also, that blue van was seen on the scavenger what do you call that? Scavenger hunt. It was one of the meeting place that the police saw that blue van, and it somehow vanished. They didn't caught up with it. So maybe the interviewer thought that blue van on the scavenger hunt is also the blue van that Rothstein owned. But with all the suspicion, according to Bill Rothstein's best friend, Ray Bokorsky, that Rothstein was a very intelligent and a good guy. He's a very interesting guy because he thinks that he's smarter than everyone in the everyone around him. And after being cleared on the interview, he became a different person. He's reluctant on saying anything because I don't know, something strange that happened to him. And after Bill Rothstein's interview, the state, I think the state found,
found another suspected victim named Mr.
I think that's not a suspected
I
victim,
know, it's a part. It's also a part
co-conspirator.
Of named Mr. Stockton.
Floyd Stockton.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about more of Floyd Stockton in the further chapter. But for now, it's the end of the chapter 2. So let's proceed to chapter 3, which is the interview with Marjorie. What did the interview talk about, Vince?
The interview talked about the interviewer decided to contact with Marjorie, and he found out that Marjorie actually has information about the Wells case, and she says that Rothstein is definitely involved in.
Yeah, she kept on insisting that Rothstein was a part of the case.
So in the last chapter, the blue van, when the interviewer asked Marjorie about the blue van, Marjorie said that the blue van was definitely the same blue van that was found in the scavenger hunt. And furthermore, when they reviewed footage of the investigation during the time when Rothstein was interviewed in the frozen body case, they later found out that there was a small footage in the video that showed of some peculiar blueprints. And upon further investigation, those blueprints were the same blueprints that were or rather it has the same structure of the bomb found in Brian Wells.
And also on the notes of the scavenger hunt, on the back of that note, it was what do you call that?
110.
110 was identified by the best friend of Bill Rothstein, Ray, that it was very identical to his handwriting.
Yeah.
So that raised a suspicion to all of them that Bill Rothstein was indeed a part of Wells' case, as what Marjorie Dill was insisting earlier. On the investigation of Ken Barnes, the police saw that Ken Barnes and Brian Wells was they are somehow connected because Ken Barnes was a crack dealer and Brian Wells was a user, and also they had similar way of getting the crack because um they had the same not the same, but their prostitutes are connected to each other also. So that's how Ken Barnes and Brian Wells knew each other, because if if the if his if Brian Wells prostitute wants to use crack, um and she does not have money, he'll trade sex for it. So that's the role of Brian Wells. So that raised a suspicion that is Brian Wells really a part of that heist, or is he a victim? And also, a vital information was given by the state police, but it was from the girls or the inmates that Marge would talk to in the prison. So they said that Marge really killed Jim Roden because he was going to uncover the pizza bomb heist. Inmate Kelly Michaela given the police some very vital informations because on the prison, while Marge was talking, she was taking down notes in front of Marge, which gave very vital informations about the bank heist and also the killings,
James Roden.
the killing of James Roden.
So that was the end of chapter 3. So now we move on to chapter 4. So what was chapter 4 about?
To begin with our last and final chapter, Ken Barnes started to negotiate with the FBI then, because yeah, he had all the information about what happened. Uh, Ken Barnes said that
But I think he saw a loophole. That's why he started confessing, right?
yeah, you're right. Then he said that Bill Rothstein ordered a meeting on his residence together with Marge, Stockton,
And
Wells. Again, then Ken Barnes said that on his um, negotiation with the FBI, that Brian Wells knew all the information plan before the bank heist happened.
But when Brian Wells discovered that there was a bomb, that the part of the plan was to attach a bomb on him, Brian Wells was kind of, let's just say, he doesn't want to go through with the plan anymore. But I guess to try to calm him down, they said that the bomb was fake and it's only to scare the bank into giving him money. But as we later found out, the bomb was actually real and end up killing him in the process.
Uh, but then that's how that's where Ken Barnes stopped his information with the FBI, because his Ken Barnes attorney found out loopholes to lesser his sentence in prison.
Wait lang.
Okay na to?
On the statement of Ken Barnes, it speculated many theories that Brian Wells was a part, but also at the same time he's also an unwilling participant of the heist. So that really triggered the community to investigate further. So on that report, Jessica Hopsick, which was the former prostitute of Brian Wells, gave interview to the document to the one who's making a document that um she said that Brian Wells was never really a part of the bank heist because she was the one who who gave information to Rothstein, to Marjorie, to the whole gang of suspects. She was the one who gave information about Brian Wells because she knew that Brian Wells was a pushover and they could manipulate him. So that really concluded that Brian Wells was never really a part of the heist and that everyone should be given death penalty for their actions. So I think that's the very end of the chapter. So now we'll talk about the what are our thoughts on, so who should we think is the mastermind of the crime, Vince?
So, despite the documentary itself and all the documentary itself leading that Marjorie seems to be the mastermind, I actually believe that it was actually Rothstein that's actually the mastermind. And despite Jessica's statement that Wells Brian Wells was innocent and doesn't and was truly an innocent man, I am reluctant to believe that he was innocent, and I actually believe that he knew the plan all along, as what Ken Barnes said, because according to the one eyewitness in the bank when Brian Wells was in there, he was awfully calm in his demeanor, and one of the reports, or rather one of the witnesses, actually said that he was so calm that while robbing he actually got a lollipop in the candies and just casually walked out. And if you ask me, that's not the action of someone who is unwilling and doesn't know what to do. And also, when he was caught up by the police and was asked who put the bomb on him, he told the cops that it was two black men. He didn't, if he was truly innocent and was not involved, he would tell the truth, and it could be Rothstein, could be Marjorie, but it said he lied to them. There was no reason for Brian Wells to lie if he was truly innocent. So that's my thought on this.
But in the contrary, the landlord of Brian Wells said that he was a happy-go-lucky guy. So he was very natural in his way when he allegedly robbed the bank. But I think it's really Marge that the one who plotted the heist, because in the first place she wrote all the instructions and everything, but also she gave a very she was also what do you call that,
A very smart person.
a very smart person with an supposedly illness. But how come she speak at the right time, she spoke of the words that with limits, that she know that if he spoke too much there'll be consequences that will lead her to the heist. So I think it's a very very smart move and very manipulative way of doing the things that they did. So what are your thoughts, Chan?
Uh, for me, I think Marge is the most mastermind in doing the crime because Marge grew up not just a normal person, because as I as a what
We said earlier.
yeah, as we said earlier, that he's very a human being, but then with a mental illness. But that it doesn't mean that she has a mental ill. She is not the mastermind of the crime, but I do agree the most that Marge is the mastermind.
So Okay,
So I think it's safe to say that this show on Netflix, Evil Genius, is actually a very historically accurate to the actual event because the footage used was actual footage of the people. So were the people interviewed. They were not like stand-ins. They were the actual people that were involved in the crime.
and also there's no dramatization. Everyone and everything that was shown on the show was really the ones who are convicted and suspects, the victim's family and everything. So I think it's very very accurate.
Yeah. Uh, Everything that showed up in the documentary are all facts.
And as to the show's contribution to the greater picture of global history, I think there's a lot to learn about this documentary. Since the people, the suspects of the heist, Bill Rothstein, Marjorie, they're all dead. Or they were dead. They're dead. There's no way to ask them if they're the ones to do it or not. So it is up to us to deduce if whether they were the ones who actually did the crime. And if we study this, maybe we can avoid future incidents like this from ever happening again.
And also to the ones who witness, I think it's a lesson to all of us that when we saw or we happen to be encountering such crimes or even some minor ones, I think it's a very common ideology that we should be telling the authorities about what is happening so we can save lives. Like we could have saved Brian Wells on that event if only Jessica or the other ones had said that he was not a co-conspirator, so that the justice system will apply to those who are to those who did the crime. And also one more thing, I really admire Bill Rothstein because he buried his secrets to the ground, and I think her love for Marge was very that great that he would give his life for her. So I really really admire that. How about you guys? Who do you think of the best guy or characteristics of the people's?
I think it was Marjorie. There's just something about Marjorie that I don't want to sound very insulting, but when you look at Marjorie, you can immediately tell that there's something. You can tell that there's something bad that's gonna happen when
Bad
you spend
vibe.
time with her. Just from the looks itself.
It's kind of creepy, right?
Yes. How about you, Chan?
Um. Uh, what did you?
Um, I I mean the characteristics that you notice on the show that kinda
Kind.
strikes you.
Um. I
Maybe
think
who's your favorite?
Uh,
my favorite was um Bill, I guess. Um.
Can you
Yeah.
expound why you chose Bill?
I chose Bill because, as you can notice, the his emotionally, physically, mentally, Bill is a as as his friend said that Bill is a great man, smart, and also I think he's the great characteristic in the documentary.
So I guess that's the end of our podcast.
so that concludes it, and
Thank you for
thank you
Thank you
for
for
listening.
listening.